So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat king of Judah went up to Ramoth-Gilead. The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, I will enter the battle in disguise, but you wear your royal robes. So the king of Israel disguised himself and went into battle. Now the king of Aram had ordered his 32 chariot commanders, do not fight with anyone, small or great, except the king of Israel. When the chariot commanders saw Jehoshaphat, they thought, surely this is the king of Israel. So they turned to attack him. But when Jehoshaphat cried out, the chariot commanders saw that he was not the king of Israel and stopped pursuing him. But someone drew his bow at random and hit the king of Israel between the sections of his armor. The king told his chariot driver, wheel around and get me out of the fighting, I've been wounded. All day long the battle raged, and the king was propped up in his chariot facing the Arameans. The blood from his wound ran onto the floor of the chariot, and that evening he died. As the sun was setting, a cry spread through the army. Every man to his town, every man to his land. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried him there. They washed the chariot at a pool in Samaria, where the prostitutes bathed, and the dogs licked up his blood, as the word of the Lord had declared. As for the other events of Ahab's reign, including all he did, the palace he built and adorned with ivory, and the cities he fortified, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? Ahab rested with his ancestors, and Ahaziah, his son, succeeded him as king.
As predicted, right, as prophesied by Micaiah, that Ahab died at the battle, right? So this was already God's will, right? God predestined his death, basically. God decided he will die in that battle. And he went to that battle, right? He got lied to, and he went to the battle, and he died. Now look at how he died. This is so interesting. Someone drew his bow at random and hit the king of Israel between the sections of his armor. Was God active in this event of drawing the bow, right, at random and hit him between the sections of his armor and kill him? Was God doing that? Or was this a complete random free will event by a human being, right? What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is completely free will from a human drawing the bow and shoot randomly? It just happened by chance that he died? Or do you think this is about the sovereignty of God, where God actually made that arrow actually directed at Ahab and just penetrated his armor and killed him, right? Was this event a God event, a divine intervention? Or do you think this event is completely human free will? Divine, all right? So I got one answer. This is what I think. Someone drew his bow at random, right? To that person, this is free, right? To that person, he's free. Imagine you are that person. You're just drawing the bow and hit it, right? You are doing that as a free action out of your free will. But that arrow just happened to hit the king of Israel. That definitely is divine action, right? So we see both human free will and divine action at work at the same time. Then now the question is, how free is that person then, right? How free is he drawing the arrow and shoot? How free is that? Maybe he's not free. Maybe God is playing around with the wind, playing around with the direction he point at. Maybe God is, just positioning everything, lining everything up, and delaying that until the direction is perfect and let go, right? Maybe God is playing in his mind to make that action. I think humans are free to a certain extent, right? At least we are not aware that we are not free, which means as far as we think, as far as we know about ourselves, we are free. But to God, we're probably not absolutely free. Like we're not free in the absolute sense. Because if humans are free in the absolute sense, then God cannot control the history of human, right? God cannot be in control of the history anymore because people are absolutely free from God. So I would say we are not absolutely free. I mean, at least from our own definition, he's free and God is sovereign at the same time, right? This is logically impossible. You cannot be free and not free at the same time. But that's why God is God, right? That's why God is divine. And God do miracles. This is exactly why this is a miracle, right? I personally believe that I believe in free will. I believe humans are responsible for our actions. Because if you say like humans are not free to make our decisions, then God become responsible for our sins. Because think about Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, they decided to eat the fruit. So did God make them eat that? Were they free to make that decision? I would say yes. They were free to make that decision, and therefore they are morally responsible for the consequence, right? They're morally responsible for their decision. That's why they need to be punished. But if you say, well, they are not free because God is sovereign God, God is in control of everything, then are you saying that God made them eat the fruit? Then if it was God's intention to make them eat the fruit, then isn't God responsible? Then God is the person to blame, right? Then how can God punish Adam and Eve? Then we have a very problematic moral issue. So this is why I would argue that we are free, but only to a certain extent. But we are free to the extent that we have to be responsible for our actions. And God will punish sins as well because we are free, we are responsible. However, on the other hand, God sometimes, maybe we can argue, sometimes God intervenes. Sometimes God will predestine something, but maybe in some events, we are completely free. So, there's so many different possibilities and there's so many things you can speculate.